Well, thank you very much, folks. Roger Hines is the name, and thank you for letting me be here. Everywhere I go, I run into these three guys. And I'll tell you one thing about them, they sure ain't a bore. They always have something to say, and I've enjoyed getting to know them. Folks, guess what else is not in the U.S. Constitution?
Education.
Guess what else?
Housing and urban development.
Just about everything. By the way, if you'll just think about it, this afternoon, more than really thinking about ourselves, we have been thinking about kids and grandkids. Just think about that one. I have 7 grandchildren. That's one reason I'm running for state school superintendent. I taught high school and college English for 42 years. That's a long time to grade essays. I'll be honest with you, I would do it again. You have your days and you have your years, but I would do it again. But folks, we've got some problems in public ed. If you don't mind, if you have a child or a grandchild or a niece or nephew or a grandniece and grandnephew that's in the public schools, would you raise your hand? Well, just look around. I am for all of these parental options. I say let 1,000 flowers bloom. I'm for parental choice. But the fact is that today in Georgia, 92% of school-aged children are in public school. That's probably going to remain there, or maybe a little lower, certainly in the near future. And those who, because of the economy, are having to take their children out of private schools, probably hope and wish that we have the best public schools we can. I still believe in them. I can address, though, a couple of problems right now. I bet you know about them. Look, I believe that school is all about knowledge. It is not about awareness, indoctrination.
Social engineering.
It is not about sensitivity training. It was not sensitivity training and Earth Week and AIDS Awareness Day that stuck a man on the moon. It was knowledge. And our schools, and by the way, this is across the land stuff, not just Georgia. We've got some wonderful public school systems in Georgia. But this is across the land. We have strayed from the genuine purpose of educating children and teenagers because of what I call the social psychological agenda. Folks, we have become one nation under therapy. And schools have done their part in promoting that. Now, I'm a pretty fundamental guy. And before I mention one thing right quick, Nolan mentioned abortion a while ago. And he asked each of us to tell what we thought about that. Here's why I have a dog in that fight. And I don't even think I've told Kay this. But you might want to hold on to your seats. I am the 16th of 17 children. We all have the same mother and the same father. We were Mississippi tenant farmers. My father never owned as much as a handful of dirt. We worked for the man on the hill. Cotton farmers in Mississippi. But I've been in Georgia for 71, since 71, so I'm one of you, okay? Well, here's what my parents and my wife's parents had in common. They were godly people. They took us to church 3 times a week. You know when that 3rd time was? Wednesday night. But what they also had in common was they were both quite uneducated. Nancy's parents out in the country from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, uneducated. My parents out from Forest, Mississippi on I-20, uneducated. But here's what they had in common. If we had homework to do the next day and we knew not to lie, or if we had a test coming up the next day, we didn't have to milk the cows. We didn't have to bring in the wood. I was cotton, she was dairy cow. But because they believed in learning, and because they knew it was important, we got off the hook with a lot of chores because they wanted us to get educated. I'm so glad the question came up a while ago about things coming to Georgia and what that picture looked like. Folks, our schools have got to be good. My wife taught at a Christian school. I believe in those. We homeschooled one of our 2 sons one year just because we wanted to and he wanted to. I believe in that. I believe in those parental options. I believe they'll make schools better. I'm not against them. But 92% today, and this is probably not going to change in the near future, 92% of Georgia school-age children go to public school. I want to do all I can to help them be the best we can make them. Now here's a couple of problems we have. I love GW. He kept me and my family safe. But folks, No Child Left Behind is giving teachers and superintendents fits. On my way to Waycross yesterday, I stopped and talked, and this is one of my goals, I stopped and talked to 3 local superintendents. I was not going to bring up the testing. I kept waiting. All 3 brought it up. It's not only the cry of the classroom teachers, it is the cry of local superintendents that we're testing, and we are engagers in data management. Governors, please listen. We're engagers in data management instead of teaching and teaching content.
Right.
I have not talked to a single teacher that doesn't believe that. But I wanted to be sure I knew what the superintendents felt too, because I will be at their service also if I am elected. I hope you'll pick up on these blue and green cards in the back and look at that website. Roger Hines, Superintendent of Schools, July 20th. And I'll just put it to you this way. If I'm elected school superintendent, I will consider, teaching is hard stuff, I will consider your children my own. I have 4 kids, I have 7 grandkids. I wouldn't have stayed with these high school seniors and college freshmen had I not loved it. I've been teaching since August of 1950. This sounds boring, but it isn't. Since 1950, I've entered a classroom every August of my life, except 1 year. And that's when I was between my 2 terms in the Georgia House and running for Congress. Every other year, I walked into a school building. If we're going to Tennessee to see my wife's family, I see a school building, I get excited. I'm sorry, I'm a simple guy. If we go to Mississippi where my folks are, I see a schoolhouse, I get excited. You may not have enjoyed school, but everybody in this room enjoys learning. This testing climate is killing the spirit.
That's right.
It is killing the joy.
Yep.
I'm just relaying that from a bundle of classroom teachers across the state. One more thing and I'm finished. I will personally ask every one of these governor's candidates, and I suspect I know what their answer will be, if they will appoint to the state school board good citizens who will make sure that when they're looking at textbooks, as you know, the state board picks a list, long list, pretty thorough list, and local systems have to pick their textbooks from that list. I will sooner or later, I think I've asked maybe just one of them that's here today, I will ask them if they will be sure to appoint to the state school board people who will take great care about textbooks and make sure that people like, say, Ronald Reagan are not given short shrift or just half a page when he did what he did. Textbooks are still pretty central. We've got to increase the virtual ed program. We've got to increase the tech ed programs, but textbooks are still the thing these days. I don't believe they'll ever go out of style, but we are having textbooks these days that do leave out a lot of good stuff that you and I grew up on, and which is still not important. Please remember that name, Roger Hines, State School Superintendent, and thanks for letting me be with you today.